Hey, this is Ghostly Wings here, and it's been a while since the last video I made, but this is mostly the Switch 2 that was revealed a couple of days ago. As for what the Switch looks like, perfectly fine with the whole, okay, you've got magnetic Joy-Cons, but the only thing I have a little bit of an issue with is the price of it. I mean, sure, everyone is in a different state, which means the currency and everything else will be slightly different, but in terms of what Nintendo is doing, the Switch 2 for me will be, well, way above what it is, $700 plus 80 plus dollars for whatever games I want to get, followed by whatever it is in terms of demos and other stuff included for the Switch being added extra, which means that altogether is gets to the point of ridiculously expensive to getting over $1,000 in terms of other things for the Switch 2. Another thing I will complain about, even though I very rarely get political, but in terms of the Switch 2 and other things going on in terms of, oh, by the way, we've got tariffs being split around the world apart from Russia and North Korea, because the US president has a huge hard-on for those two states, but every other state deserves to have, like, a tariff increase in terms of everything going on, so in terms of purchasing not just equipment and other things around the world, it makes things a little bit more hell, not in terms of keeping society alive and all, but the fact that, again, very rarely get political here, the whole, oh yeah, inflation is down and everything, but the markets are crashing. Oh, but inflation is down. Again, the markets are crashing. The only thing in terms of inflation that is going down is the US president's ego, because every time something bad happens, isn't it weird that he's always going to Mar-a-Lago just to play golf? I mean, hey, if you're gonna be wasting everyone's taxpayers' money just to play golf and run away from general responsibility, that's on you, right? Not for all of us to just randomly pay for all your bills and everything else just so you can have a good time while the rest of us suffer. I should say the US and other people suffer from lack of Medicare, lack of cancer research, lack of other people surviving, because, hey, what's better than having Australia and other people take down the USA flag and no longer be a part of wishing to be a personal guide to help you guys out? Again, very rarely get political here, but in terms of the USA presidency, I believe in terms of civil wars and World War III, that's going to become closer as it develops in terms of having a person through so much shade at other stuff and having people deported for having a tattoo based on autism, which myself and again many other people around the world will probably have, would have general issues with that. So not only is the said president highly above people of specific genders of the LGBTQ community, but also is against people with autism, so that's a bit of a yikes moment for me. But again, very, very political here. I'll go back to the topic of the Switch 2. Now, in terms of the Switch 2 and Nintendo trying to get as much money out as possible, okay, the Switch 2 does look good. The games, however, yeah, I don't mind some of them, but again, paying $80 plus for them just doesn't look good to me. I mean, people who are Nintendo fans will buy anything because, hey, go support Nintendo, even how much Nintendo is ridiculously so heavy. I mean, look at Palworld. Oh no, we're gonna sue you because you used a gaming mechanic that has throwing a sphere-related item at people, at said creatures or whatever. that's the case, Nintendo, why aren't you suing Blizzard for that? Because you've got other games that throw sphere-related items. Like, examples, RuneScape. Oh look, we're throwing snowballs. That's technically a sphere-related item. In terms of mechanics and stuff, you just wish to be so heavy and milk everybody dry in terms of not just competition, but the fact that fans and other people can't have anything in life because it has to be from your company and from your lane, right? I mean, look at the whole Game Freak situation with the Pokedex entry for the crossbreeding of Typhlosion and a said human crossbreeding. Yeah, really putting the freak in Game Freak, huh? And yet Nintendo is fine with this? I mean, hey, it's Japan. They have the occasional octopus-related hentai stuff, but isn't bestiality kind of a no-no situation in terms of Pokemon being legit animals that are getting kind of freaky with the humans, which is a pretty bad thing to stick in terms of Pokemon-related content? Sure, you had the whole Typhlosion issue in the Sinnoh region, but hearing about it in the other in later games, with that being a thing, yikes! And by the way, Pokemon is a kid's game, and you have animal crossbreeding? Like, hello? Do we need to bring back the Sonic 6 situation with Elise kissing Sonic to bring it back to life again? No. Nah. In terms of Switch 2 games coming out, we have the new Mario Kart World game, which apparently is open world, and in terms of the public view on social media, it's kind of back and forth with it's going to be worth playing versus not worth playing. Updates alone in terms of Nintendo Switch Online. Apparently, the GameCube Nintendo Switch Online, we're not getting for the original Switch, we're getting for the Switch 2. Only Switch 2. Which makes me scratch my head going, if you're going to do Nintendo Switch Online, why not put the GameCube on the Nintendo Switch as well? Instead of having to force other people to get Nintendo Switch 2, which apparently is reverse compatible with Nintendo Switch games, but at the same time, in terms of other things going on with the Switch 2, apparently there's some games that aren't reverse compatible, that have reverse compatibility issues with the Switch 2 anyway. So in terms of Nintendo getting greedy with its customers, and Nintendo Switch having reverse compatibility issues when they say it has reverse compatibility with the Switch 1 anyway, makes you scratch your head if the Switch 2 is actually worth getting versus wait for it to get a price drop and tie up of the whole tariff situation and everyone going to be living a little bit more difficult lives in terms of getting the necessary funds to not only keep themselves alive, but also keeping themselves entertained at the same time. I mean, hey, I'm in Australia and I've already got like a 10% tariff increase because, USA president gonna make everyone else suffer first before making himself even more richer just to play golf in Mar-a-Lago every night and day for the rest of his life. Because, hey, what's a state or a government without corruption and people making everybody's lives a living hell? That's politics for you. Every time you vote for someone, it's always the wrong person. Doesn't matter if you're far right, far left, or in between. Somehow you're gonna make the world suffer, somehow you're gonna cause World War III, somehow you're gonna cause a dictatorship, and somehow you're gonna blame the whole entire world for it. Because what's better than increasing your ego so everybody else can suffer? You tell me. Comment down below if you give a damn. But at the same time, it's politics. It's always a grey area. But at the same time, with social media and the news, it's always a half and half on what's real versus what's fake versus what really goes on behind the scenes that nobody else wishes to be informed on. Same can be said with Nintendo. with the fact that they're now trying to sue people for leaking the Switch 2 and other information, which is, again, very weird in terms of, hey, we're doing this for our fans, but at the same time, we're going to be suing all your fans, so at the same time, try to buy our products for suing you and getting more money out of you anyway from suing you. Which means more money in their pocket versus us suffering even more. So, again, and this is why you have people doing emulation stuff, which is, again, from Nintendo, the worst thing you can do because, oh no one's going to buy our product. But at the same time, with Nintendo having the world's biggest greed in terms of, we'll sell you this for this much of a high price to good luck trying to buy everything else on the Switch 2, even though you can use the Switch 1 games on there. But again, that would mean transferring your Nintendo account to the Switch 2 to get everything you already have downloaded to be uploaded on there again. And in terms of other information, apparently it takes longer to actually play some games on the Switch 2 when it's just an easy, just slip the cartridge in the Switch 1 and it's already loaded and ready to play. Unsure what information on there is correct versus if it's actually false or not, but again, I'm just being cautious on the Switch 2 in general, so I'm going to be playing it safe. I will probably wait for a price drop because it's much easier to get it for a lower price instead of the insane amount of cost it already is for the Switch 2 and the games alone. And as a fan of many different consoles and genres, I'm not all just pro Nintendo and pro Sega. I play pretty much all the consoles. I don't mind if it's Sega related, don't mind if it's Sony related, don't care if it's Nintendo related. I'm here to give every gaming company a fair shot, even if it's like really bad or muck-worthy or worth playing. But that's just me. In terms of will the Nintendo Switch 2 be the main console that would destroy PC gaming? I'm going to point blank and say no. In terms of PC gaming, in terms of emulation and other stuff, PC is still master race. Even how much Nintendo wants to concede and say that they know what they're doing when, in terms of their company, in terms of the emulation issue, the Sue Power World and Sue everybody around them, in terms of their fans and everything else, Nintendo will just give you the big middle finger versus everything else. But what does Nintendo and politics also have in common? They both don't give a flying shit about any of us. It's pretty much give us the middle finger, give us all your money, have fun trying to survive. And that's where I'm gonna end it. That's Chargo Savins. I hope you have an interesting thought about if you wish to purchase the Switch 2. And hopefully you guys have any ideas or ways to deal with the tariff increase in certain states and areas. And I will see you all if I do more in terms of conversation videos on VR Chat for the next video. But if you wish to see more, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Until then, I'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.